Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining in for the um, Canada Conversation Circles Networking in Canada. I hope you guys are excited about um, joining in the discussion, and I hope I'm able to add some value to your job search process, especially with the challenges that COVID 19 has presented by limiting our interactions. I believe that having these webinars and being able to share information and resources over such webinars are able to create a very good value to who we are and how we can search the job of our dreams. Okay, so welcome everyone. I'm going to begin by introducing myself, and before that, I would like to tell you about what we are going to cover today. So the content today is divided into three parts. We are going to have a discussion about what is ADM's career coaching, Canada Conversation Special. So today our focus is going to be networking in Canada. And of course, lastly, but very importantly, we will be discussing questions and answers that you post. All right. So about ADM's career coaching, and especially now, I think it would be a good time to just talk about myself. So my name is Anna Dean Menezes, and I'm a career coach, and I have been doing this since 2014. I'm to establish my authenticity. I'm a member of Canada Career Professionals of Canada, and that's my member ID, and that's my public profile. You can click the link and you can check me out over there. So I am a vetted professional, and my specialty is that I help newcomers to Canada find work that matters to them, their families, their communities, and helps them feel fulfilled. So the idea is not just that they have to find work which could be a transitional work or which has to be a professional work, but the focus is more on the fact that the clients are or my clients are able to understand what they want to get out of whatever work they select. It could be working in a pizza joint, it could be working in a bank, it could be working in a law firm. It doesn't matter. The idea boils down to the same thing about what is it that my clients will be helped by and what do they want to get out of it. um, and I do it by providing services. So I have a bucket load of free services. You can check out my website for updated authentic employment news. Now when I use these words, which is updated authentic employment news, I use it very carefully because I am going to share only those pieces of information which is most relevant and which I know that I have screened out. So you can rely and ensure that you are getting your information from the right source. Canada Career Conversations. So these are once in a month webinars that I invite anybody and everybody to join in. And our focus is to help people understand what does careers or building careers look like in Canada. So and it's a conversation. So it's not just lecturing, it's also about listening, understanding, building on your feedback and giving even more. And also coaching calls. So you can always again check my website, you can book in your free coaching call request, and we can always have a discussion about what you're looking for and how I can serve you the best. Other than that, I have certain career packages. So the packages are created for associate, professional, and executive level, where associate is more or less applicable to most of the professionals. It involves resume writing, cover letter writing, one-on-one employability skills coaching, which I think is the most important thing. People seem to miss out that employment is not just about being able to do my job, but being able to build relations that affect my job. And that's why employability skills training is so important, because it covers those skills that help you build those critical relations. Obviously, then there is the professional one. Professional come up with more backing about LinkedIn and using that to maximize your job search process. And finally, with executive, there is more support in terms of professional networking and advice. So the basics remain the same: resume, cover letter, so on and so forth. And oh wow, wonderful! I see there is some more participants that are joining in. So welcome, all of you who are joining in. I have started the presentation. Just to let you know, this session is being recorded, so you will be able to access this session, and you have my personal details in the presentation. You can always connect back to me. um, all right. Then we have and then I have created, which I feel is a very important tool, which is known as the special package, which is also known as the beginners $99 startups. So if you have very little to no idea about what you're looking for from a career coaching perspective, um, this design or this particular package is designed for you to just get a right start, and it's just $99. So it comes with coaching. So again, very big focus on employability skills training, because I wish for all of my clients that you go there at your workplace and you shine. You just don't get a job, you shine at your workplace. So this is what my intention is by giving this particular package. Okay, so now coming to the main topic of today, that is networking in Canada. And whoever would like to chime in, feel free to unmute yourselves and chime in. Otherwise, as I showed in the introduction, I will be taking you through a Q&A session, so feel free to pour out your questions at that time. Also, feel free to use the chat box to ask the questions at any time as we are going through it. So what does networking in Canada look like? And why is networking important? So there are some certain reasons to it. Networking is the number one technique to finding employment in Canada. And people find it very counterintuitive. They feel it is a much more difficult work. But actually, it is an easy to learn technique. You need to know where you need to network. And then you just need to be able to communicate how you are an advantage to the potential employer that you have met in those networking sessions, and allows to understand and blend with Canadian culture. So networking is also an essential tool, not just from a professional point of view, but also if you want to enlarge your friend circle. And that's why networking is so important in Canada. So what is networking in Canada, or how do you network in Canada? So number one technique right now, or the first technique right now I'm going to talk about, is social media. For the simple reason is COVID-19. We have been limited to the electronic world right now to make most of our transactions. And this is a fantastic opportunity to use your social media accounts to your benefit. The top three that I recommend for Canada is, of course, number one will be LinkedIn, number two is Facebook, and number three is Kijiji. And how would I recommend you to actually be doing this networking? So networking takes place in certain steps. Number one is that whenever you network on LinkedIn or Facebook, don't just send invites to people. Share a quality message. Why are you connecting with that person? What value is the person bringing to you, and what value would you like to return to the person? Networking is like a human transaction, so to say. It's a human relationship transaction. So when I connect with someone by sharing about, as you can see on the example on the screen, hello with the person's name, not just a hello. I read your article on dealing with COVID-19. I found it very informative and would like to know more. Please add me to your network, and then you end it by your name. This is a very short, under 300 characters message that you can use to actually even introduce yourself to who you're connecting with. I'll give you my personal example. People try to connect with me all the time, but for me, if people connect me without a message, if I'm in a mood, I go and check whether I really am interested in connecting with this person by reviewing their profile and other details that they have given. However, if I am not in the mood, I just hit ignore. But if there is a message, even if there is a one line message that, hi, my name is so and so, I'm interested in connecting with you, please add me to your network, that does the trick. Because it shows me that the person has taken time, put some intention to their work, and tried to connect with me. So I really respect that. So, and this sets true for any other social media platform, say Facebook. If you're connecting with someone with the intention of professional networking, have that ability to introduce yourself that this is who I am and this is why I'm interested in connecting with you. Other ways is basically tagging and liking what other people are sharing in their posts. So it's not about just saying like buttons, but it's about giving qualitative feedback to it. So to just give you an example, in this particular article that you see over here, it's basically about a career coach. So basically, a co-professional for me has shared about a young boy who's upset because of COVID, cannot celebrate his birthday. So the patrol cars, they come together and they sing happy birthday to him over a bullhorn. Now the idea is not just that, oh, this is a fantastic story, but it talks so you like it and you comment on it, talking about how this particular story or video or article impacted you. So my comment on that was that this just shows that you don't need a reason to be nice, and you don't need a reason to make somebody smile. You can do it, be it COVID or not COVID. Okay, so that's a qualitative comment that you have added. Other way of networking is to write articles that are professionally relevant to your careers. So if I'll give you an example of one of my clients, and I love this example for the simple reason is because the this client, she was a PhD holder from her home country. She had about 13 years of work experience, and she was into hardcore research in biotechnology. Now the field itself is a very niche field, so finding employment is not the easiest game. However, she followed just one technique, which was she would regularly post very, very relevant and good quality information with her insights onto social media sites. She would use LinkedIn, she would use Facebook, and the third one that she told me she used was Twitter. And what she would do is that when she would share these articles or when she would post these information snippets that she creates, she would tag people that she's interested in networking with. And that is how her first relationship started. She got a job again in hardcore biotechnology research. It's a very, very niche field to crack with her PhD in the same level that she had before, within 1.5 months of landing in Canada. So it takes some effort, but she was able to crack a very, very niche field. I'll give you another example about how social media has been able to help people find employment. I have another client of me who started connecting with professionals that he found he would like to network with from his home country. And the reason he did that is because he was professionally working. He had in mind about how much time he has to come to Canada, and he started networking and building those bridges already. When he came to Canada, in 2 weeks, he had 3 interviews lined up. And a week more, he had 3 job offers from all of those interviews. So that just goes to show that if you follow a strategy right, there is no reason that there has to be any difficulty for a person to find employment no matter when they are starting. All right. Uh, what else? And this is my favorite way of networking in Canada, and that is volunteering. And you can see this little girl, she's so adorable. She's trying to line up logs and she's volunteering to do that. Now, why volunteering and what is really volunteering? Like in networking through social media, volunteering is a structured opportunity for you to add value. I highly recommend volunteering from anyone who is in healthcare field, who is in teaching or social work field, or who is in legal field. Volunteering is the best way that you can familiarize yourself with the work structure in Canada. You can familiarize yourself with the people or professionals and how they work in Canada. Plus, and very importantly, at, by volunteering, you start building your Canadian work experience. People will think that volunteering is just an activity like a hobby, which may not be directly connected to their professional goals. But that is not true. Even if it is a hobby, it is something. It might be a hobby, but it still pushes your careers to no ends. I have a client who started volunteering in the Toronto District School Board, and she started volunteering as a lunch supervisor, where actually cooking was her hobby, and she was professionally a teacher. But what happened was that volunteering as a lunch supervisor got her to be able to develop contacts, understand how the Canadian education system works, understand how she fits in the Canadian work experience and how it would be relevant. And she was able to gain an administrative position. So she still wasn't a full-fledged teacher, because there's a longer process for that. She needed to get her licensing done, but she was still inside the school system. Once her licensing would be done, it would be easy for her to actually find a teaching role if she would like to. She told me she's very happy. Now, here are some resources about volunteering. So, volunteer.ca, it's basically a hub where you can volunteer, or you can look at what are those volunteering resources that are close to you. Now, because I am from Ontario and I am from the city of Toronto, I basically recommend, I have added volunteertoronto.ca website. Basic, again, it is a very easy to use website. You say you would like to volunteer, you select what are the skills you have, or what is the kind of work that you would like to do in as a part of your volunteering. You have volunteer MBC, again, MBNC starting for Mississauga, Brampton, and Caledon.org. And then there are now a lot of opportunities for virtual volunteering. Now, why have I given it a separate structure for itself? Very important reason, because virtual volunteering is in right now, and virtual volunteering can be done from your home country. So even if you haven't moved to Canada, you are maybe just planning. By virtual volunteering, you are building your Canadian experience. Again, the bottom line remains the same, that you have to be able to add value. It is not just because, oh, I want Canadian experience, that's why I'm volunteering, but it's because I also want to add value to the work in volunteering that I'm doing. And that's why I am registering myself. All right, moving forward, networking in Canada, and this is the networking by online versus physical events. All right, so what happens when we go for networking? Um, right now, most of the networking is happening through online events. Example, this is an online event. The clients who are in this, or the people who have joined in this conversation, I do not know them firsthand, but having this opportunity gives an opportunity for both me and you to learn and interact and be able to network. Some of the sites that I use is eventbrite.ca. They have been able to fantastically transition into the online medium. There is the meetup.com. There are also a number of online meeting and networking sites on Facebook. So there are opportunities like Facebook Live, where you can again network. But the intention should be simple. The intention should be purposeful networking. What is it that I am looking for, which makes me want to network? So if it's a job, what kind of job? Let's say if I'm looking for something in healthcare, the way I network would be definitely very different from, let's say, if I'm wanting to network in an engineering department. And that is where professional associations come. So based on what your profession is, there could be a body that is officially managing those skill set, managing those professionals. So that again becomes a fantastic opportunity for you to network, and it is true for all the licensed professions. All right, so we are almost to the summary of today's session. This moved quite breezily. Why network? Look to add value, and I cannot specify enough the importance of you adding value rather than looking at what you have for me. Because when you are able to add value, you are more creative, you are able to use your critical thinking facilities better. Plus, when you are able to add value, you become irresistible to the person or the persons that you have added value to. I'll give you an example right now. In Canada, the healthcare professionals need to go through a very, very, very rigorous process of getting licensing in their respective fields. Because of the COVID situation, what happened was that for time being, they had to take on hold that licensing process so that healthcare professionals from other countries were also given an opportunity on a limited basis to start serving in the healthcare business. Now, why was that? Because it was a time of crisis. Now, all those professionals who have actually become a part of this lapse or this opportunity where they can work as a healthcare professional without yet completing their licensing process, they have been able to add value. And now, even after the dusts of COVID seem to be settling, they will be important because they have added value. They will not just be asked that, okay, we don't need you anymore. They might be required in some different capacities, but they have still made a mark. So adding a value. Developing a real connection. So it's not just that, oh, you know what, let me start volunteering for 3 months because I know that after 3 months I need to get a job and 3 months gives me a good time to settle in and blah 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 and find a school for my children. uh, that's not really the not that's not really the best way to go about it. It would work, but it would not work for a real time because you haven't developed a real connection. You haven't developed an authentic connection. All right, so look at developing authentic connections, because these authentic connections will back you in your moment of need, when you need reference, when you need somebody to vouch that you are a good employee, and have a genuine interest in the work and people. So be it a networking event through LinkedIn, or be it a networking event through professional associations, be it networking in any way, or even volunteering, have a genuine interest in what activity you are going to engage in, whether it is work or the people. Have a genuine interest, because if you are not genuinely interested, people will see through in time. And we really don't want that to happen, because the idea of networking is so that we create good references for ourselves, so we develop good productive connections for ourselves, and not really um, leave with sour memories, so to say. Okay. All right. So finally, we are in time for questions. I am going to unmute you. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Any questions?
Hi, this is Vinita here. Can you hear me?
Yes, Vinita.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation, Anna. It was very helpful. So just to give you a background of myself, so I'm a permanent resident of Canada, but I live in US right now.
Mhm.
My question is more around, I mean, I was told, and I do come to Toronto quite often because I live in Cleveland, and my concern is I was told by most of my acquaintances and friends in Toronto area that when you go looking get a new job in Canada, the first thing they ask you, and you did bring that up, is the Canadian work experience. So so my question there is, how much of the networking would really offset the fact that you don't have Canadian work experience?
100%. As simple as that. 100%. Um, because there's a reason to that also, because when you network, you are actively adding value to the people. See, whenever they say that you don't have Canadian experience, in the sense they see that you haven't added real value or their definition of value. So when you network through volunteering, when you network through professional associations, when you network where other people who of your professional interest gather, either online or in person, the, it gives an opportunity for people to know who you are and how you can contribute. The reason why Canadian work experience is given so much of emphasis is because people have had experience where they have claimed, so the professionals have claimed that, oh, for example, I am fluent with Oracle, I'm an IT professional, and then when they've been hired for the job, they really don't, they are not able to meet what they have said. That is why it is, they go through this process, and they will always go more with somebody recommending you, somebody giving you a strong reference, rather than a resume that you put in front of them. That is why networking is important. So if you have already worked with somebody they already trust, or they know can be trusted, even if they directly don't have an interaction with, it helps build your credibility, and when you build your credibility, it helps you get you one step closer to that job. I hope I've answered your question, Vinita.
Yes. No. Thank you, Anna. No. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Because the intention always has to be about how am I adding value. I give you my example. I volunteered for about maybe maybe more like 1.5 months, and by the end of that second month that I was on, my manager, or the manager who was my supervisor, volunteering supervisor, she came to me and she was like that, I would like to give you a part-time contract. And then that part-time contract was for a month, and then it became 3 months, and then it became 6 months, and then it turned into another job opportunity, and so on and so forth. So this is what career in Canada looks like. It's a snowballing effect. You maybe take one strategy, one step, but if you are persistent with that strategy, and if you're seeing good results, it will snowball into bigger and more meatier options for you.
Okay, makes sense. Thank you,
Right.
Anna.
My pleasure, my pleasure. And this, I will be emailing this presentation. I will also be emailing a feedback link. Feel free to connect with me at any time. My email address is right over here, annadeanmenezes@gmail.com. So the idea is for me to help you understand. Now, I do have services and packages, but it never takes me away from my primary goal is that I'm here to serve. All right. So, and I'll be more than happy to answer any more questions.
Okay, thank you.
Wonderful. So that's it from me. If you have any more questions, you know where to get me. And please do refer Canada Career Conversations to others in your network if you feel that there is some value to what we discuss over here. And thank you very much for joining in, all of you.
Thank you.